Hey, book club besties. From Scrubs to Book Club, we're two burnt-out healthcare workers who love to yap about books. I'm Katie.
And I'm Star, and welcome to Aimless Attention Podcast.
Today, we are back in the Maasverse after taking a month off, and we are going to be covering the fifth book in the Throne of Glass series, Empire of Storms. Again, as with all of the Throne of Glass podcasts, anything we cover in SJM, because this series are so interconnected, it is going to be a spoiler warning for any Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, or Crescent City, because if you haven't read those, they all interconnect. I don't know that we get, I will make an ACOTAR reference in this. I say every single time I'm not going to make a reference, and then I make at least one or two ACOTAR references every single time. This for sure has an ACOTAR reference. I want to apologize if you're watching on YouTube. I will have my phone out this whole time because I did outline most of this book because there is so much going on. I want to make sure we hit most of the major points, so I will be looking at my phone a little bit. This is my personal favorite book in the entire series. I have revisited Kingdom of Ash before as an audio reread, and I love that book too, but Empire of Storms, I don't know. It's just so freaking good. This is like I think most emotional book up to this point. There's so much that happens. We get building of some of my favorite character relationships in this book because I love Lorcan and Elide.
Yeah,
they're
so what they thought was.
I love Lorcan and Elide. They're one of my favorite couples in this. I love watching Rowan and Aelin continue. Now they're past their healing journey and they're fully accepting themselves to be together, and I love that about that. And I don't know, this is just my favorite, so I'm stoked to talk about this. And Star's like,
I have to say, on the reread though, there was some things that I was like, oh yeah, oh I did like this one. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, I can't say but I feel like these ones were really long and sometimes confusing because there was too many characters that you were like, you know how I feel about names. I'm like, sure, I know. That guy. Wait, hold on.
The other thing too is that when I physically read these books, I did tandem read these. So I read this alongside Tower of Dawn. So I had never gone through just Empire of Storm straight.
Was like, what the hell?
I was like, wait, oh my God, this is happening in Tower of Dawn at the same time. So the cool thing is when you do the tandem read, you get you get Chaol saying Aelin would never go to Skulls Bay, and then here's the Skulls Bay fight. Like, you get all of that kind of in tandem going together. So I loved it. I'm interested to see how I feel about Tower of Dawn without having the breaks with Empire of Storms throughout. Not to say that I don't like Tower of Dawn. I just think that in terms of these two books, Tower of Dawn feels like the boring book compared to Empire of Storms, right?
I didn't think it was, but I could see.
I feel like it wasn't either, but I also feel like with there's a lot more politics and like a healing journey in Tower of Dawn, where Empire of Storms is like go go go, we're building our allies. This is the fight this is the war we're entering.
This is also the author that her world building is like, and we're walking.
This is the walking book.
More story. We're walking. Yeah, this is the book where I was like, Katie. How many fucking miles are we gonna walk?
Why are we still in Oakwald?
Too, she's like, and we're walking. Hey, look, and we're walking.
Star's like, why are we still in Oakwald?
I swear to God. There was like a few times where I was like, literally had this on like 500 speed because I had already read it. And I was just like, thank God we can, like, the walking is so fast. It's like, boom, we're done walking. All right, cool. We're on to the next thing.
That's true.
Lorcan is stalking me. Boom, on to the next thing. I was like, this is so fucking nice. This book, I think I originally read at like 1.2 or something because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
That you literally, but it's like, she walked down the hallway. Like, you're just literally like, oh my God.
I do have to say,
and there's a tree. And then Lorcan came out from behind the tree. I was just like, what the fuck is happening?
I know.
Elide, run!
I love Elizabeth Evans. She's amazing, but she definitely is a slower reader, which is perfect for the amount of information she has to convey to do it so clearly and to make her voices so distinct. Like, you can tell when Rowan's talking versus Adian. Like, it's really well done. So she's a fantastic narrator. I do have to listen to her on a faster speed, but I think that's mainly because I'm rereading these books. If I hadn't, I'd probably want it a little bit slower just to catch all the nuances.
Yeah, slower is better, but when you get to the second one, you can still read it on two, and it's like, and you're still keeping up. You're just like, I don't know. It was I didn't hate it.
No. So let's get into this book. So we actually enter into a new POV for the first time for the prologue, which is called Nightfall. When I first started, we talked about this at work. When we first started listening to this, I was like, who are we talking about right now? Like, I missed the introduction that we're in Elena Galathinius's POV. Okay. And so I was like,
same thing.
I was like, wait, I don't remember this. Like, when did this happen? Yeah. And then I was like, oh, wait, this is Elena talking to Gavin.
I'm not sure in the audio it gives you that.
It does. It says Elena Galathinius.
I must have literally blanked it too, because when she started talking, I was like, who is talking right now? And I was like, and who is she talking to?
It's in like the first paragraph that's like Princess Elena Galathinius was talking to Gavin Haley. It's like 3.5. Full names.
It was like, and I was like, yeah, sure, okay, something happened. No, when she started talking, I genuinely was like, I know this person's voice. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, I think she said Gavin, and then it all clicked together.
Yeah.
I was like, you're slow.
So a big thing about Throne of Glass is that, and I think honestly with a lot of her series, is that there's these cycles that happen throughout where history repeats itself in certain ways.
I mean,
through different people or whatever, whether it's God's being reincarnated or people living through whatever, or, Maasverse assumptions that, Kaltain's now the Suriel and ACOTAR, like those kinds of things. Like we know that these characters are kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
There's also a side note on Kaltain. There's a theory that she is Abraxos, or not Abraxos. She's Bryaxis.
I was like Abraxos.
No, there's a theory that she's Bryaxis.
I have seen that theory.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But anyways,
series. I have seen that. I will use the correct word on that.
Yeah, we'll have a Maasverse episode where we'll talk about random theories we have or things that we've seen online that we can discuss too. We'll do that after the brand new ACOTAR books that got announced. We actually had to rearrange our schedule. This is the first one we filmed since we took that month off, since the announcement of the 2 new ACOTAR books. So we are actually rearranging the schedule where we will be able to, at the end of our ACOTAR coverage, we will cover ACOTAR 6, and then we will go into Crescent City, and then next year we'll film ACOTAR 7, and then we will do our Maasverse video. So sorry to push the Maasverse video a little bit later, but we wanted to make sure we had all of the currently published books out and in it by that time. So
yeah, because this book brought, well, not this, but this series brought Katie and I together to start the whole podcast world. So yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm. So
and plus we'll be at a year when we start doing.
That's true. We'll have been.
So see, we'll have tortured you guys for a year.
If you guys have been sticking around with us, thank you for hanging out.
Right? I'm like, there's a few people I know will. Like my mother.
So Elena and Gavin are talking, and this is gearing up for this final battle against Erewhon. At this point, Erewhon has taken advantage of the fact that Brannon, who is Elena's father, his flame is depleted. Yeah. And we know that there is one thing that the Volg actually fear is fire. So Gavin mentions that Elena's father talked to an oracle and that they know how this is going to happen. Gavin's actually trying to get Elena to leave because he's like, I want you to not be the one that dies in this. And she's like, no, you don't understand. We have to both leave our men and our people to whatever they're going to succumb to. And you need to come with me. I need to get into the camp and you need to serve as a distraction so I can get in there. He'll never suspect me. He'll take me as a prisoner, but he will fight you. Basically, what Elena is trying to do is to seal Erewhon into that tomb.
Yes.
Which goes against what was supposed to happen. So she was supposed to sacrifice her life for the gods to escape through the Word Gate. And we'll learn this later on. And Elena, instead of doing that, traps Erewhon. So there were 2 kings outside of Erewhon that had been banished originally. That was like the original war that happened. So we're in the second act of the war with Erewhon. Elena is going to trap him in the tomb. And then the third act is going to be with Aelin and everybody fighting. And Gavin even says, like, you're just putting this war off to a different generation.
Yeah.
And she's like, what else are we going to do? Just let Erewhon win? Like, what's the point? So this is another kind of interesting fact we learn, and it's only like 3 pages of a prologue or whatever. It's really short. There's a lot of information in these 3 pages. Elena has magic. Like, she's got like ice and stuff she's dancing on her fingers. She has the same raw magic that Dorian has. So that's the line. That's where Dorian ends up with his magic. So there are 2 parts to this book. There are part 1 is Firebringer and part 2 is Fireheart. Part 1 is really where I had to outline because I was like, okay, there are so many POVs. We really have like 3 groups of people. Actually, it's kind of 4, I guess. So we have what Aelin and Aelin, Adian, Lysandra, Evangeline, all of those guys are together at the beginning of this book. We have Alid and Lorcan, who are technically 2 separate entities, but very quickly become one. And then we have Dorian, who's still in Rifthold, and then we have Manon as well. So those are kind of our 4 POVs that are going on all at once, the 4 groups of people. And that's a total side note from the fact that we have Kaol off doing his own thing in the Southern Continent as well, which is all going on in Tower of Dawn. So,
which is why she was like, yay. Which is why she's going to hate it. I didn't want to say anything until you got there, but this is why you're going to hate Tower of Dawn. Because you're going to be like, Kaol is in every fucking sentence in this book.
I actually really like Kaol in Tower of Dawn.
I know, but I'm saying, though, when you read it this way, you get like both. When you read it the other way, you only
That's
get
true.
Kaol.
I'm going to be stuck in Kaol land. So we end up opening part 1, which is Firebringer, with Elide and Lorcan. So Elide has been traveling through Oakwald after Manon just like dumped her in the forest and said, go have fun, go find Selena Sardathian, right? And she has the word key that Kaltain tore out of her own arm before she blew up Morath with her shadow fire. She is blessed by Aneth, Lady of Wise Things, so she has been doing her best to try to live off random berries. She remembers her nursemaid Phinia had told her if she rubs a berry on her arm and she has a reaction, it's probably poisonous, don't eat it. She also learned very quickly which bodies of water not to drink from after having some unfortunate incidents. She hears wings in the distance.
Running water should be probably the only
It says she drank from a pond, and it's like, bitch, you should have known not to drink from a pond. Like, I'm sorry.
Dysentery much?
Gross. So yeah, she knows as well because she Aneth is her protector basically, and kind of like all this stuff. She knows Lorcan's hunting her. She doesn't know it's Lorcan, but she knows someone's been following her around. And it is Lorcan. It has been following her around. He actually hunted down a coven of Yellowlegs witches as well. I hate to tell you
this, but every time I picture her walking, I picture her dragging her foot. And I know we've talked about this, but I picture her dragging her foot and just looking back and being like, he's back there. And then like trying to keep moving. I know it's stupid and I know it's not like, but that's how my brain is like. I don't, too many fucking horror movies. She's just like, I'm getting here. I can feel him. Yeah, I know. It's like super stupid. That's like literally how my brain pictures it, though. And I know that's not what the author was even doing. I know she can like walk with like a little bit of a like, but like no, my brain's like full foot, like the wrong direction, being dragged by, like, flipped backwards, and she's like, my leg's not coming. I don't know why.
So
I don't know why. I'm sorry. I can't unthink it now.
Before he braces her ankle. The funny thing too is that, and we'll get into Lorcan. Lorcan's POV cracks me up for most of this book because it's just so. It's so Lorcan. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but it's so funny because, like, he even comments, like, how he, like, will brace her leg, but if he remembers to do it. Like, he's just, like, such a dick throughout so much of this book. But he ends up happening upon Elide. He's, like, she smells like Vogue, but she's very clearly human. He's like, there's something wrong with her. So she's probably demon possessed or something, but he doesn't know. But she also kind of smells like the witches that he's been stalking in the forest. So he killed 4 yellow leg sentinels, and he dragged 1 or 3 of them and then dragged one into the forest to question with them and stuff. So he has been chased down by Wyvern. It's actually really funny at one point when Elide and Lorcan finally meet up. She's like, oh, they're wyvern. They're like these big things with wings. And he's like, I know what a fucking wyvern is. Like, and so he happens on her. And that's kind of, I broke this out into 3 different parts. So there's like the initial entry of the book where we're seeing where all of our characters are. Then there's the attack on Rifthold that happens with the witches. There's after the attack on Rifthold. And then there's Skull's Bay. So those are kind of our big things that are happening in part 1. So that's what Lorcan and Elide are doing before Rifthold is attacked, is they have just kind of figured out that they're Lorcan's hunting her. She's wandering around trying to figure out what she's doing. At this point, Aelin, Rowan, Lysandra, Evangeline, Adian, and we're on Fleetfoot watch because Fleetfoot is with them. If we remember from, I don't know if we talked about it when we did Queen of Shadows. So the end of Heir of Fire, when he got when Dorian was on the Wordstone Collar, Fleetfoot was with Dorian. Dorian had been taking care of him.
Yeah, but how did I don't remember how Dorian got the dog back. I keep trying to think this out. I'm like, this fucking dog keeps popping in, but I don't remember where.
So what happened was in Crown of Midnight when she left,
yes.
he took the dog.
Yes.
And so Dorian gave
it to somebody.
Dorian had the dog. At the end of Heir of Fire, Kaol is leaving the castle. Dorian is now Wordstone collared. Kaol took Fleetfoot to a farm.
See, that's what I remembered.
So we learned that in Queen of Shadows that he had put Fleetfoot in a farm because I props to SJM for trying to have to deal with this dog. I think that would, as an author, would be so annoying. Like, I have to deal. Where's the dog now? How is the dog safe? Like, I think that's like a funny little piece that just gets thrown in there every once in a while. It's like, by the way, the dog's still alive. The dog didn't die.
The fucking dog. I don't know why. It's a goddamn dog.
It's a golden retriever.
That was just a... Are you shitting me?
And so Kale's like, well, her previous like temporary ownership was Volg possessed now. So, okay, go to this farm. And I'm pretty sure it's one of like Nezrin's family people that know on the farm or whatever. So those people have Fleetfoot. Now she has Fleetfoot back after Queen of Shadows. She made sure to pick up Fleetfoot before they left. And they had marched on to Terrasen at the end of Queen of Shadows. And so they're going in through the Oakwold Forest. They're supposed to meet in this clearing that Adian's been using to meet with all of the lords of Terrasen while he was the leader of the Bane. And then they show up to the clearing and the lords send a messenger to meet them somewhere else. And so...
Yeah, because it's supposed to be a setup, right?
Yes. And she also mentions that the little folk have been like helping them along the way. They've been leaving like at one point they leave her like it's maybe in Kingdom of Ash, but they leave her like a Mala's crown or whatever, like a stick version of her crown. Later on, they'll leave her a rendering of the temple that they're going to go sack and all this kind of stuff. So the little folk are in Oakwold Forest. They accept her as their queen already. And they end up going to... Oh, Rowan and Aelin spend so much of this book lusting after each other. They did a little bit at the end of Queen of Shadows, but that was when Rowan's like, I'm not going to take you for the first time against a tree. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to...
I remember looking at Katie going, fuck off, dude.
Queen of Shadows, he's like, I'm not going to take you for the first time against a chimney. Like, it's all happening like that. They don't have sex until the chapter 38 because they get separated. And they're not short chapters all the time either. So I just think that's kind of funny. But it's literally like constantly they start making out. No, we can't have sex yet. It's honestly a little Hunt and Brycey.
Oh. It's like,
we can't have sex. We can't have sex yet.
What was
it was the winter solstice. They couldn't have sex till the winter solstice. So yeah, they're like, we're holding off because...
I kept thinking it was like something with angels. My brain was
Rowan's like, it's gotta be special. So anyways,
at least he loves her enough to think about it.
No, I know.
She doesn't give two fucks.
She's like, honestly, well, he doesn't want anyone to hear her screaming his name either. He wants to have like her completely. Yeah, it's a whole female thing. Yeah. And Ren.
Sorry, I get it. I read the story. It's just my brain's like, who cares?
Yeah. So
I want everybody to hear. Like, I guess there's the difference between me and like, I'm like, everybody should hear me screaming your name. Should be like.
Later, that's his opinion.
The whole continent should know I'm screaming your name.
Later, he's like, I don't give a fuck who watches. Like, that is how it's going to be. So the messenger shows up and they're like, actually, you're going to meet at this inn, at this tavern. And they're like, fine. So they go to the inn and it's a setup that it's Ren, Murtaugh, and Darrow. Ren and Murtaugh the Allsbrooks are totally behind Aelin. And then Darrow's like, well, you're not queen. For the royals to be accepted, there has to be the panel of lords or whatever has to all unanimously vote or a majority vote that you are the ruler, and we haven't. So he has a piece of paper that he had already prepared that says, we don't accept you. You are still a princess, recognized, because the last standing king was Orlin, who was her great uncle. And Darrow was her uncle's lover too, which adds a whole weird element to this. So this book gives us an introduction to the King's Flame, which is super important because it only blooms in Terrasen under times of prosperity. So it doesn't, for Terrasen, it hasn't bloomed very often, especially with the Volg Wars that happened and all that kind of stuff. And it first bloomed when Brannon set foot on the continent. That was the initial thing. So it bloomed one time for Orlin's reign, and it was one bloom, and they had pressed it in glass, and Darrow still has that. So she was a little afraid when Otterlin took over that he had taken it, but Darrow still has that. So Adian does tell her that. This all happens later on, but I think it all fits in this section. She does introduce everybody, including Lysandra, who is Lady of Caraver, but they don't recognize it.
They don't recognize her.
They don't recognize it, and they basically say, like, you have a group of whores and fey males from other country or kingdoms, and and thieves, and you're an assassin. Like, we do not want you representing Terrasen. And that was basically the whole thing. And
why is she an assassin? Because you didn't protect her, you pieces of shit.
Exactly.
The whole story, like those guys, I was like, cha-cha-cha-cha. Mm-hmm. It was like, and Aelin's knife came out and slit all of their throats.
And so Darrow's messenger bursts back in while they're in this meeting, and they say that there is a legion of Iron Teeth Witch that are going to Rifthold. And we'll get Manon's POV initially before all this happens, but I want to continue kind of the Lord's meeting and what happens post that Lord's meeting, because this is going to break up this big group. So Rowan is the only one who's going to be fast enough to get to Dorian. They know that they can't go on foot. They can't take horses. No one can get there faster. Even Lysandra's not, she's fast, but even with all her shapeshifting, she's still kind of new. She's not going to be fast enough to get to Dorian. And honestly, sending Lysandra, as amazing as she is not the safest thing for Dorian either. They just want to get him out. Yes. So they know they're not going to be able to save Rifthold, but they send Rowan out to fly over to help him escape on the Avery. And then they decide to meet in Skull's Bay. Again, this is a funny thing that Chaol's like, the only place she would never go is Skull's Bay, because he knows the history of what happened with the Pirate Lord and stuff. He's like, no, but no one, Rolf is not going to let her come back to this. So we'll talk about that in Tower of Dawn as well. There's a couple of things that have to happen to make sure everything's kosher. Fleetfoot needs to go somewhere.
Fucking I'm telling you, dude.
So what are the two things we need to protect in war? Children and animals, right?
Which is fine. It's just, there's something about, like, as an author, could you imagine having to constantly be like,
where's the dog? Like, oh, I have to sprinkle it
back
in.
And be like, where did I fucking place that dog last time?
Right.
And have like a little side note. Dog is with so and so.
It's so true.
Evangeline actually care about the fucking dog too, though.
I know.
Like, way more than they care about like Chaol. They're like,
I'm
fuck
like,
him.
I prefer like Abraxas. I think
like people are like, where's the dog? Where's the dog?
It's true. Murtaugh ends up taking Evangeline to go do lady training because they're gonna be Lady of Caraver. The funny thing is that Caraver was a section of land that the Alsbrooks actually had sold off because they didn't have any money after Terrasen fell. And Aelin's like, this is mine now. And now it's hers. So she's like, I gifted this land, but she also is not queen yet. So technically it all doesn't get recognized and it's a whole freaking thing.
I know, but who cares?
And the plan is basically they're going to send Ren to go rally the Bane because they were told, we're not going to let Aedion and you run everything. We're going to make sure that the Bane is under our control. So Ren is technically still in the Lord area. So they send Ren to go lead the Bane. The idea is they're going to go to the south, get armies to push along, hoping that Chaol as well is able to get more armies from the south. And they're going to push Erewhon into the Bane so that they can kind of get him on both sides. Yeah. And then this is when Darrow says, where are you going? And Aelin says, to call in old debts and promises, to raise an army of assassins and thieves and exiles and commoners to finish what was started long ago. And this is when Aelin also sees the Lord of the North when she sees off Rowan before they go right off into, they have to go to get to the coast to get to Skull's Bay. She sees the Lord of the North, and I believe in person, this is the first time she's seen the Lord of the North since she saw him when they were in Assassin's Blade and she was going to Endovir.
Okay.
Because that was when she was in the cart and the men were turning to like fire arrows at it and she was telling him to run. So I think this is monumental that we're seeing the Lord of the North in person for the first time.
He's a stag, right?
He is a stag.
When you keep saying in person, and my brain's like, I swear to God, this is an animal.
It is an animal, but she's seeing, because we do get visions of the Lord of the North in her dreams.
Okay. I was wondering what the hell I was like, it's a fucking stag.
Like, it's an animal. Why is it not in person?
Yeah.
I just meant like actually physically seeing it, not from a memory or a dream.
Like trying to like, and I was like, we're in the right thing, right? Like I was like, that's gotta be right.
Yeah. So they all go do that. And I pointed out that Aelin quote because there is a time later on in this book, and at this point, everyone knows I'm an Aedion hater. There is a time later on in this book where they're having a hard time, and Aedion says, where are our allies, Aedion? Or Aelin, where are our allies? And flips on her, and then everything at the end of this book happens. So fuck you, Aedion.
He's a child.
He's a man enough to not act like this. I didn't get to take the blood oath, and where are our allies, Aelin?
I don't know, Katie.
They're at the fucking end of this book while she sacrifices herself.
Brain's 25. What's he like, 23?
Anyways, so
I'm just trying to give him a little bit of the doubt
because she's 19 at this point.
So mean to that poor guy. Because even he's just trying. Ugh. I don't know.
I don't know. Aelin's 19 at this point. I know Aedion's older than her.
Yes, and I hate to say this, but like girls are just better than boys. You heard it. You heard it here on Endless Attention.
I keep hitting the mic, so I apologize to everyone who's listening. Just like,
I guess I haven't noticed. I've been trying not to like.
Yeah, we have a new mic setup. This is only our second one we're filming with this, so we're gonna get a couple podcasts that are gonna flip in between us having different mics, but we'll settle eventually. We end up in Manon's POV. This is her viewpoint before the Battle of Rifthold. So we meet She gets to see Erewhon in his true form, which is this golden-haired guy, and he's beautiful, and he has the same golden eyes as Manon, which are the eyes of the Bald Kings. Because he's like, well, I don't need to wear another skin. Everyone knows I'm Erewhon at this point. Or he's like ready to reveal that he's Erewhon. And he says that he's going to send a legion of Iron Teeth witches to Rifthold to take the city, and that the main thing they have to do, and he does say he's going to send Iskra Yellowlegs to lead everything, and Manon's like, no, the 13 are going.
Okay, so I was going to tell you this. I was thinking about this last night while I was driving home, like literally finishing the story, and I was thinking about it last night, and why is it that I picture them with actual yellow legs?
She does. I think they do have yellow legs.
I picture the black beaks with like almost like not like their real jaw, but like almost like pointed out like a beak. I was like, Katie was like, you should not let me read books because I don't think I picture it the way the author.
They do have yellow legs though, because when she encounters,
I picture it like tights. You know what I mean? Like
not
like
like this black and white yellow striped tights.
But
That's
like
exactly
in
how I
a
picture
sexy way though, like because all the witches are really pretty. Like in reality, I picture them very gorgeous, but for some reason, every once in a while, I'll be like yellow legs. Like, oh, what's that? There's like a what is that stupid fucking movie?
Oh, are you talking
Dorothy? Dorothy and the dog Toto. Take me home.
Wizard of Oz.
Yes, that
one. They do have actual yellow legs, because she mentions it in the Circus of Mirrors or whatever, Carnival of Mirrors. When she encounters Bobby Yellowlegs, she looks down and sees her actual yellow legs, which I don't understand. Are they jaundiced all over, or is it just the legs?
I don't know. That's why I always just like assumed it was like tights. But for some reason my brain's like, Katie, I have to tell you this. I pictured them with tights. I don't know. It was the funniest thing last night because I kept picturing them, but I was like, I have to tell Katie this. She's going to be so embarrassed for me.
But honestly, I do picture them like that. I picture them with they're like really pretty witches, but then they have like these bumblebee tights on, basically. Yeah,
I know. I was like, why? But I guess like somewhere in my brain had to like identify them differently. It was and then like it's the Krakens with the red coat.
The Krakens have the red cape. And then the Blue Bloods have
like the red cape with like a really pretty hood.
Yeah.
So, like Red
Riding Hood.
And I was like, what is fucking wrong with me?
That's exactly how I picture
any
it.
Of these people.
Like the big billowy hood.
Yes, and I picture like Manon like in this gorgeous and her hair just like, I don't know what my problem is.
That's how I picture it too.
And I'm sure that's not what she's freaking even
I don't know. I think you're not alone in that. So the main thing that he wants to do is to make a statement with the capture of Rifthold. First of all, he wants Dorian taken into his custody. He specifically tells Manon to do that, because Manon's like, the 13 are going, because he's like, we're gonna send Iskra Yellowlegs, and she's like, well, she can go too, I guess, but she's like, we're going because, as we've seen over the last 2 books, Manon's figured out she has a heart, so
it's little.
It's little and it's growing 3 sizes.
I just picture like a little chicken heart, like you know how big those are. Like.
It's a little chicken heart, and every time Dorian uses his phantom hands, it just gets a little bigger. And so,
oh my God.
And so she's like, okay, and he says, we need to capture the prince, and then you need to take down that glass wall that Aelin put up, because it needs to be a symbol to everybody that Aelin is not a protector and that she's not a good thing, basically, that she can be defeated. Then they all get ready to go. And then they actually she goes to Ghislaine, because Ghislaine was the one who had all of this knowledge. And she's like, okay, tell me about Erewhon. And then that's when she learns about the 3 kings that invaded the world at the dawn of time. So that's the initial war. And then the 2 kings that were sent back. And then Erewhon had fled to the continent, which is Aurelia, that we're currently on. After Maeve and Brannon had fled the continent. Brannon and Maeve had been working together to fight against Erewhon, but Maeve always was weird about Brannon's fire.
Yeah, and then doesn't, like, one of somebody asked, like, and he was like, Maeve was old when I was young. Like, nobody thinks that's a little weird, like...
No, so I think Fenris is talking or something like that later on in the book, and they're asking about if Maeve is Volg.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're talking to Gavin. That's what I thought. Talking to Brandon. They talk to Brandon, and Brandon's like, she's not Volg. And I'm like, that bitch is Volg. How did you not know she was Volg the entire time you were working with her?
Because that was when I thought about it. It was because she was talking to Brandon, and Brandon was the one that was, she was like, kind of like, don't do that. Don't use your cool powers.
Mm-hmm. So then we get Dorian when the alarms are going off that the witches are flying into Rifthold, and we get to see Dorian's fighting with his magic. He uses like whips of magic to like take them down, lots of things. He takes down like 6 wyvern at once, which is pretty impressive. And then Manon ends up crashing in, and she tries to help save him. He does get hit with a barb of one of the wyvern, and it's poison tipped, so he crashes. He's like partially paralyzed. He like can't get off the ground. His magic does start healing him really quickly though, so that's the benefit. But Manon shows up and she's like, get up. And he's like, I'm trying. And she's like, get up. And I like Manon's POV during this whole time because she's like, shit. And it's like every other paragraph. She's like, shit. And she starts getting Dorian, trying to get him down to the tunnels that he talks about that he can get safe passage out of. And then they run into a Iron Teeth witch, or not, a Yellow Legs witch. And she's like, crap. Now I either have to kill this witch, which is a big no-no in witch culture, or I have to kill Dorian. And I don't really want to kill Dorian because I'm kind of attracted to Dorian. And also, like, I'm starting to think that maybe all the stuff that's going on with the witches is bad. And so she's looking back and forth, and she does end up killing one of the Yellow Legs witches.
I don't understand why she cares. She killed Krakens like they were going out of style.
Because they weren't her witches. And she's been engulfed in this culture of they are witches. I'm just saying,
like, you've already killed enough freaking Krakens, which are basically the same thing.
Well, and they're her family, we find out later.
I know, but I'm just saying, like...
Yeah, and then Rowan blasts through and kills a bunch of them, too. And so Rowan shows up, and he helps him escape, and they get on a boat on the Avery.
I was just thinking, is this the book where she finds out that her sister, or no?
Yes, this is the book. So that is the actual Battle of Rifthold. The witches take over Rifthold. There's a lot of people dying, and Rowan and Dorian sail off towards Skulls Bay. And during their time, while they're on this boat together, Dorian really has to come to terms with, not only did I fail Sorsha and she got decapitated, and then I'm now abandoning my kingdom. Like, what kind of person am I? And he's been dealing with a lot of the stuff that he did while he was Volg possessed, because he killed people, he tortured people that didn't deserve it. And he's like, I don't know who I am anymore. And Rowan's like, when I lost my mate, it was a lot, and I hated myself, I hated the world, and I just sunk into that. The benefit I had, though, was that my kingdom was at peace.
Yeah.
And you're not able to do that. So he's like, you're gonna go through all these emotions. I've been through them. So I kind of like getting to see Rowan, now that he's healed past a lot of stuff because of his journey with Aelin and Heir of Fire, getting to see him help somebody else is kind of like a nice turn for Rowan, I would say.
Yeah. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. So we get to, and then they do a lot of stuff where they're like practicing magic on the boat together, because they spend like a couple weeks traveling just to get to Skulls Bay. And Rowan's using most of his energy to push the wind so that they get there faster. So after the attack on Rifthold, Manon goes back to Morath, and the matrons are all there, plus Petra and Iskra.
I don't know why you would go back. I just feel like, I don't know, like part of me is like, run, Manon, run! I don't know why you keep going back to these horrible people. What happened to your little chicken heart?
Well, it's still there.
I know. So, I'm just saying, like, she just keeps going back. Like, she's done it a couple times where I'm like, why? Like, why? Like, you've already heard, it's Astrid. Astrid. Told you I can't do names. Mm-hmm. She's already heard her horrible fucking story with her grandmother. Like, run, bitch, run.
Well,
Grandmother's a horrible fucking person.
She's kind of stuck in a weird spot though, because she's still the wing leader. She got they gave her this armor and this helmet with these spiked crown on it and stuff. And so she is still technically leading these Iron Teeth Witch, and she has to protect her 13 as well. And she goes back, and the matrons are there. Petra Blueblood, who is the heir to the Blue Blood, is looking at her like, don't do it, dude. Just hold back. And Iskra's looking at her like, fuck yeah, she's going to die today, and she gets put on trial basically for the fact that she is a witch killer, kinslayer, as they will call her later. She ends up they say they want blood for blood, and they decide to kill Astrid. And so Astrid gets locked up in the dungeon so that nobody can see her and everything. And then Manon basically she thinks about it all night about how Astrid's gonna die.
Which is why you should have gone home.
Don't go back.
You don't go home.
Don't go back to the psychos and your grandma.
You that your fucking grandma's a crazy bitch.
And she, right before Astrid is about to be killed by the matrons, she invokes her right of execution to do it herself. And then right before she does it...
That sounds exciting, right? Let me chop off my best friend's head.
My cousin's head, who is my best friend and my second and everything like that. Let's just do that. So she ends up doing that. And then before she pulls out Wingclaver, and before she goes to kill Astrid, she whirls on her grandmother and attacks her instead and tells the 13 to run.
This was my favorite part, because I forgot how cool her fucking grandmother was. Oh, and we forgot. I fucking found this really fascinating on the second read. I don't know why I don't remember on the first read, but that her grandmother was a lesbian, hardcore.
I don't know. I didn't notice that.
You didn't notice that? She walks in with her grandmother with a young woman in her bed?
No, I totally missed that on the reread.
That fucking bitches. It was just more is she sucking the youth from her? That's literally
what are you doing?
I was like, is this bitch just over there I don't know.
Are you trapped there? Blink once for yes.
I don't know what it was, but I remember going oh, I gotta remember to tell Katie this. I was her grandma's a fucking psycho, but she's literally, it was a young witch too. We're talking this old hag. I don't picture her.
She's not pretty.
Or anything. I picture her like an old hag.
Yeah.
With this smooth skin, part of me's she's sucking the life. She's I want to be young again.
Oh my god!
But yeah, she's in bed with her. Manon's just yeah, whatever, grandma. Let's move on. It was quick, bloop, bloop, but something in my brain was what? Hold on. You were doing what? But then when she wheels on her grandmother, it was kind of funny because it was you never seen this bitch train, not once. And you want to know why? Because that bitch got shit up her sleeve. She's come at me, youngin'. I'll show you.
Mm-hmm. And then she tells her, if you're going to be in a fight, then we'll do it with with iron teeth and nails instead of with a weapon. So then she puts back Windcleaver, and they start fighting with their nails.
Yeah, because that bitch was I can take you.
And they get
Edward
into
Scissorhands.
That's I can't imagine
she just comes out of nowhere.
It's like Wolverine.
Just yeah, because I can't picture her showing any of this shit, because why would you agree
She doesn't ever have them out except for I think her iron nails are always out, but the iron teeth drop down.
Yeah, but I'm saying
but the grandma always has them out. Yes. And they're rusted.
Yes.
Yeah. Gross.
But she would never just picture them
No, not at all. And so they get into the big altercation, and Manon's grandma actually drops some pretty impressive lore that she's actually the Kraken Queen. Her dad was a Kraken prince.
But this, I picture her being and then, honey, right in her fucking ear.
Oh, yeah.
And then, honey, I'm going to take you out, and your grandmother killed your mother. I don't know why. I just picture her being in her ear, though, hey, baby.
Yeah.
I haven't told you in all these years.
Gross. But yeah, she
do the creepy voice. And then
it's Mama Mead. Butcher and Blackbird reference.
I was telling you, I was hardcore grossed out. I was
But yeah, so she drops that, and the thing was that they had gotten together in the hopes that they could stop the curse, or finally reverse the curse that's on the wastes. Yeah. And that obviously didn't happen. Manon is heir to the Kraken throne, and she killed her sister in when the last Kraken that she had to kill in Queen of Shadows was actually her sister.
Yes, but her grandma didn't tell her that. Her grandma was like,
no, of course not. She's
you like my grandma voice.
Kill her, Manon.
I don't know why. I try to picture her even on the audio. I'm like, you're not doing it right. Get deeper.
Elizabeth Evans is not what she sounds like.
It's not how she sounds in my head. I just picture her being like, Manon, come here. You're gonna hear like the creepy voice because she's like a horrible fucking person, and we should have no consideration for her. No love for that woman. She needed to die.
Oh yeah, seriously.
Kill her.
Manon almost gets gutted. She's basically holding her insides in. And Abraxos picks her up with his claw, and she tells him to catch up to the 13, basically. And the 13 get chased down by some yellow legs as well.
Now that we've had that conversation with Daniel on the whole I can actually picture Abraxos with actual
I picture Abraxos normally anyways.
No, not me. Still picture him like a blimp. But like the last few times, like since on the reread, since Daniel and I had like gone over like he was like start. Now I'm like okay, but I still like every once in a while I'm still like there goes my blimp, my blimp with my little wings. Boop 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 boop.
Yep.
I know what they're supposed to look like. I don't know why, because I think it's because Abraxos. I don't know why I associate this in my brain because Abraxos is like sweet and sensitive and like flower sniffing, loving. Big-hearted. I just picture like a big like hippo. I don't know why. Big hippos are super fucking mean. I don't know what my problem is. I'm like, yes, this is what it has to be.
Abraxos the hippo.
Right? Daniel's gonna watch this and be like, God damn it,
He's
Star.
like, you idiot.
How many times do I have to tell you?
The funny thing is, and I think it's only because I've seen fan art so much of Abraxos that I can just picture Abraxos really well.
I mean, I have seen fan art, and I do know what Abraxos is supposed to look like.
I don't know why it's only in Fourth Wing I have a problem with the wyvern, and they're not like they're described weird. They're just described as wyvern.
There's nothing wrong with them at all. I just still picture... It's because they're like, in Fourth Wing, I picture them in the way they stand on them. Yeah. I just can't picture, like, the way wyvern are, even though, like...
I need like a flatter back.
Like, I fucking read Game of Thrones and fucking pictured it like just fine while she's standing on that fucking that dragon. Like, I don't know. Like the
a
whole
surfboard
fucking
blimp
thing is like, I don't know. My brain's like, let me just put in whatever I want here and there. The author did a great job, but this is what I want to picture.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Because I think of him as like a soft-hearted flower sniffing.
He's a sweet little guy.
I just want to picture him like a love bug. Like, I just want to take you and cuddle you.
They meet
like a mean like brah. I don't know. I know it's stupid.
So she's bleeding blue blood everywhere. She's riding on Abraxos.
Okay, so I didn't catch this. How the fuck are you considered a blue blood witch? But then you have blue blood.
I think all the witches have blue blood.
Yes.
But
what makes you a blue blood?
The blue bloods are the super religious ones.
Okay. You get where I was going with that, right?
I know.
Like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't catch that before. Till just now. I was like, wait a minute, Katie, I don't remember that. Like,
they're all Iron Teeth witches, too. So technically all of them have iron teeth as well.
Which I thought was really interesting, too. I fucking hope she comes back. I'm hoping that the book that she wants to revisit is going to be about the witches. I want the fucking backstory. I want the lore. I want it all. I want Manon back. Bring in my girlfriend.
I want either give me my novella on Elide and Lorcan, or give me my novella on Manon.
She wants Manon and Dorian. I don't care.
I want Manon and Dorian.
I want the backstory on the witches.
I feel like...
Do not listen to Katie, listen to Star.
SJM, you're out there. And I know you listen to our podcast.
Yeah, right? Somebody talks to you.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, so she ends up... a couple of the 13 meet up with her. They go fight off the Iron Teeth, and she tells them to go meet up with the rest of the Iron Teeth and leave her behind. And then Abraxos flies her to safety, which is in Oakwald. She recovers in Oakwald for a while until the Bloodhound shows up and has been sniffing out for Manon. And Manon gets away from her, and then Abraxos, she asks her to fly her to safety, and then that is when later she will meet up with the rest of the crew, but that's later on. So we're gonna miss out on what Manon's doing for a little while because she's flying with Abraxos, but I want to go back to what Elide and Lorcan have been doing since
he stalked her in the woods.
Since he stalked her in the woods, because there's quite a bit that happened.
Kitty.
So after Rifthold is attacked, so Elide and Lorcan end up teaming up. They fight off the Ilkin together. And the interesting thing is that she goes up to the Ilkin and she pretends to be like she's Manon. She's like, how dare you talk to me? Like, you are interrupting what I'm doing for the Dark Lord and like all of this stuff. And the Ilkin are sitting there like, what? She is wearing leathers. And then the one mistake she makes is like, and you've injured my ankle. And they're like, oh, interesting that you also have an injured ankle. And we're looking for a little girl with an injured ankle. That's surprising.
I mean, she can't walk without it, like, kind of being a little bit like you can see it. Like, she might, I'm sure she doesn't picture her ankles not flipped over like I picture her. Like,
no, she's not that messed up.
But there's still got to be a little bit of a limp there. Like,
she does have a limp.
Like a slight.
And she actually turns her back on the Ilkin and walks out. And then Lorcan's sitting there like...
When she does that, though, she tries really hard to walk like she's got nothing wrong with her.
And Lorcan's watching like, what the fuck just happened?
And doesn't he, like, throw something at her, like...
Yeah, so he follows her out after he kills the Ilkin. And then he follows her back and she's vomiting because she's like, oh, God, what did I just do? I can't believe I just did that.
It's pretty powerful.
And Lorcan, like... runs up to her and he slices her with a knife and is like, oh, she's bleeding red. Okay. Like, what is that? And then once he sees that she has red blood and she actually is human and she's not Vogue possessed, he throws her over his shoulder like a sack of potato and starts running. And that's when Elite's like, oh shit, this guy's a demi-fae. I'm like, what tipped you off the 7-foot tall man that was chasing you?
The funny part is that, like, okay, so you and I have not had this discussion because I've been dying to fucking bring it up. Okay. But this is when I'm like, he loves her. Mm-hmm. When he, like, slices her, that's when I was like,
really?
Lorcan's in love. Like, literally, even on the reread, I was like, yep. Like, first time I read this, I had the same exact thought. And then the second time, I was like, yeah, this is when I'm like, Lorcan loves her.
That's not the vibe I get. The vibe, when I think Lorcan really witnesses really falls in love with her, I think is after seeing how, spunky and smart she is.
Nope.
And then when she fills out.
I think when he starts stalking her, I think he's already falling for her. Mm. And then when he throws her over his shoulder, I think that's when he loved her. I think that was immediate fucking I love this woman. And I think that, like, there's going to be a battle in his brain in the back and forth.
I think for me, the point that he starts falling for her is when he sees her in the crowd when he's sword throwing and like everyone's fawning over him and he catches her eye and he's like, he ends his show early because she's not in the crowd anymore. And so I think, and he even mentions that that's the first time he really sees her as like a woman because she has spent a lot of her time pretending to be a young girl that's very meek and stuff and like hiding her breasts and all that kind of stuff. There is a time where he says bigger tits won't make what I don't remember exactly what he says, but he says something about her having bigger boobs because she took the leathers off and she just like scoffs at him like, fuck off, Lorcan.
No, see, the reason why is because there's like a scene in it when he's like following her that he keeps smelling her. And that's
he does scent her a lot.
Where my chemistry's like, no, your chemistry, bitch, that you already in love with this girl, you just don't know it yet.
She smells like...
she's not gonna reveal that you do, but everything in me was like, this is the minute, Katie. This is it. He loves her.
She smells like cinnamon and berries.
I'm telling you, there was something about that, like, it's a weird fucking reference to make if you're not already like...
That is true. Like,
I've fallen for you and I can't get up.
That's true. She ends up making a deal with him, that as long as he provides protection for her, she will give him information about Morath because he is seeking going to Morath and getting the key from Erewhon. So
he still thinks he wants to do something. But this is when I think that I'm telling you, when you start smelling somebody and you're literally like, I can smell her across the room.
He also
like, something in my brain was like, yeah. I was waiting to tell you for the podcast. I was like, oh my God. When I reread it, I was like, Katie, how did you not catch it?
Yeah. And, I guess I just don't see it as that time, but that is a good point that he was like scenting her a lot. But also I think he's a demi-fae and he relies on his senses a lot.
Yes,
so I think it's like
demi-faes are always like, and then I smelled her and I knew she was the one.
I know, Adian does that too.
Like, come on, like Lysandra.
Lysandra.
Let's lick you clean.
They end up, so she says her name's Marion, which is her mom's name, because she's like, I'm not giving my identity to this idiot here.
You do whatever you want.
And so he's like, okay, Marion. And so they end up, they go into a tavern and they end up joining this carnival troupe. And well, first of all, she says husband and like holds his hand across the table and he's like brother. And she's like husband. And he's like, I don't want to be your husband. I want to be your brother. And she's like, if you're my husband, I'm off limits for doing bad things to me. Otherwise, if you're my brother, then there's still like a romantic interest people can take in me and to take advantage of me to do bad things.
Right.
So
Makes
he's like,
sense to me.
And so he's like, okay, I guess the logic tracks. So Elide says she's a fortune teller and that Lorcan's a sword thrower and that he does feats of strength. And Lorcan's like sitting there like, I hate my life. I can't believe that this is what I'm doing now. I'm blood sworn to Queen Maeve. I have one word key that he thinks he has because he still thinks he has the real Amulet of Orinth. He has Athrel's ring as well. And he's like, I'm solid. I just got to get 2 more word keys, which he doesn't realize Elide has in her pocket.
I know, but...
And then
you can only smell so many things.
And then Erewhon obviously has the 3rd. So he's like, I just need to get to Morath and I'll get the 3rd one. Then they say that actually Elide says that she was in the Carnival of Mirrors until Baba Yellowlegs was killed. So that's how they like frame their backstory, was that they were a part of that. Lorcan ends up, this kind of pissed me off. It's just because I'm just an Elide girly and it like, I know he wasn't into Elide at this point, but it still made me angry. He said
that's why he didn't want to be her husband because he was totally in love with her.
Well, it said Lorcan eyed the raven-haired beauty and was like, damn, I can't fuck her now. That sucks.
I understand, but that's still a guy's like, and plus, yes, he could have because they're not married.
They're not married.
So
but
back to, is it really cheating? Hey, just so we know.
Yes. But the problem was if Lorcan was caught cheating, then Elide would be expected to throw him out, and they need to be together. Like that's the whole part of their deal.
I don't know. I still think he loved her. I still think that your dick gets hard when it gets hard. Like
there are times when Lorcan is talking, I believe his name is Nick. They're just like talking about like, oh, the war that's starting up, and Nick's like, oh, you know, guys like us could get conscripted. Goodness, I can't say that. And then Lorcan's like in his head like, no one can make me do anything. And then he's like, well, except Maeve. And then the troop talks about like Aelin and her court. And then Lorcan remembers how Lysander threw up on him twice in Rifthold. Like, the stuff that's going through Lorcan's head during all these conversations just cracked me up. They are starting to go through the guards, like the checkpoints that they're making their way through, which is the whole point of why they joined the carnival in the first place, was to blend in while they're traveling. And Lorcan is like, they're like, you don't cause trouble for us. And Lorcan's like, I could literally kill all of you if I wanted.
He's like 7 foot tall, and they're like, look smaller.
And Elide's like, you need to act like a human. Like, let's unbutton your jacket. Let's pull your hair up because you look less like a psycho when you have your hair up and all this kind of stuff. And then they end up, while they're traveling, Elide and Lorcan, like Elide shares more about what Morath was like, the layout of everything.
Yeah.
And that she does end up sharing that her uncle locked her up. And she witnessed the horrors of Morath. And then Lorcan eventually will speak about Maeve a bit, and then they are forced to share a tent eventually. So that's what...
Is it really being forced?
That's what Elide and Lorcan
does her laundry, girl.
He does do her laundry.
No man do your laundry and is like happy about it. And is like, take off all your clothes, baby. Don't you worry. I'll wash them. Nobody will attack you. I don't know. There's just too many fucking things where I was like, how did everybody miss this?
Yeah. So
he was like, I'm sorry. My husband didn't do my laundry until we were married. He wasn't like, hey, just take off all your clothes. I'll wash them for you. Mm-hmm. Go take a bath. It's fine.
So while
I already set the water.
While Elide and Lorcan are off in the carnival.
My favorite, by the way.
The bath?
No. The two of them.
Oh.
Well, if you have to pick anything, that's definitely the only storyline that I actually cared about.
Is Elide and Lorcan the whole time?
This book, I was like, when they got to the war, I was like, usually I'm like, war, yeah, kill him, rah! I was like, go back to Elide.
I'm still a Rowan and Aelin girly.
No, go back to Elide.
Go back to Elide. I actually was really excited every time we got to an Elide section, which is really funny because most of their story is, and we're walking, and we're in the carnival, and we're walking.
Yes.
So it's funny that is
fast fucking
that's
speed.
True.
So it was like, and we're back at the carnival. Like, it was like.
So.
So while literally the one fucking story where I was like, beat my head against the wall and we're walking. But I had like, literally was like, skip. Oh, here we go. We're back at the carnival.
Oh, good.
I was
the carnival.
Fuck this. I already know what's happening. We walked. Well, unfortunately, we're going away for the carnival for a second.
This is again after Rifthold's attack. So Aelin, while Dorian and Rowan are heading to Skulls Bay, Elite and Lorcan are hanging out in the carnival. Manon is battling her grandmother. Aelin and company are heading towards a port city in the north that houses a temple of stone, which is around the rock that Brannon first stepped foot on in the continent. The little folk showed her the rendering of it and kind of sent her that way. And this is one of those points where Adian's like, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on? I just Tucker Carlson did that. What's going on? What are we doing here? Fantastic SNL skit, by the way. But Ilium is under Otterlin occupation, and we will learn in a little bit when she ends up in Skulls Bay why this is so important. So the temple specifically, she's like, I'm going to go take this place back. I'm going to send a message to Otterlin and to anyone that this is you're not messing with my kingdom. I'm not going to stand for it anymore. Aelin and Adian discuss the King's Flame at this time that we kind of talked about before. And then they go in and they clear out the guards that are in the temple. Aelin uses her fire to clean all of the walls so that you can see what's on there. And it's mostly, they were expecting like word marks or something, but there's nothing really there. It's like swirls and like images of stags. And there are a lot of images of the sea serpents as well. So Aelin ends up doing that. Lysandra's kind of wandering around looking at all the images.
This is like my favorite part.
And Aelin's like, all right, I'll go do the thing that the pilgrims do where you go up the steps that Brandon once went up. And then, shocker, when you hold the Amulet of Orinth, which is a word key, and you want Brandon to show up, Brandon shows up. So they show up and she starts asking about Maeve, like why she's lived so long. Like, is she bald?
He was like, no. And I was just like, what?
Mm-hmm. And then,
I mean, I guess you don't want to give it away too early.
No, but he's like, yeah, she's not Volg. And I'm like, you were literally fighting Volg and you worked next to her. How did you not realize she was Volg the entire time?
No, maybe, I don't know. Because even I didn't.
Yeah,
I read these fucking stories twice and was like,
it's not obvious until and it's not until Tower of Dawn, right? Because that's when you learn about the Karen Kui that worked with Maeve.
Yeah, but no, you don't. Even like on the second reread until I finished the series, no.
Mm-hmm. So we don't know Maeve's true heritage at this point.
No, because you just think that like she's just like a fucking like because Faye lived for like a really long time.
And she's just got like a really dark power. You don't understand what it is.
Yeah, you just don't grasp it. No.
Yeah. So I didn't expect the Maeve is Volg thing when I read it on the first time. So it's interesting to see how many times that it's actually brought up and throughout this series that I didn't recognize in the first read because you're just like, going through the motions of it.
I don't know. You just didn't picture it. I don't know. Even every time I read it, I was like, no.
Yeah. And so this is also when Brannon tells her she needs to go to the Stone Marshes to get the lock because every key needs a lock. And she kind of goes, yeah, okay, whatever, and brushes it off. After that whole encounter, Adian and Lysandra and everybody actually overhear the encounter and they're like, oh, that was interesting. You talked to Brannon. She's like, yeah, whatever. Okay. We're not going to deal with the Stone Marshes thing. We need to get to Skulls Bay. We have a thing we got to do. And that is when Erewhon appears in the body of the overseer of Endovier. And Aelin tries to attack him, but her magic kind of recoils when she gets inside of him. Yeah. Because one of the first things she did when they got into that temple was she burned a guy from the inside out. And she kind of reels back and she's nauseous. And then that's when she finds out that the man has a heart of iron and wordstone combined. And Erewhon is speaking through the overseer during this. And he's like, iron is the best thing. And back to Crown of Midnight, we remember that Roland, Dorian's cousin, was talking about how they should go into the north to get more iron deposits than go mine for iron. So I think all of that's got to be together because what can go against someone who has fire magic? Iron. Iron's the only thing that can prevent her from using her magic, right? So if they were able to utilize these iron hearts, basically, they could create armies that are, not able to be fought by her.
Yeah.
So that is when he also threatens Rowan and Dorian because he's like, you should have probably made sure that it wasn't obvious that those two were escaping together out of Rifthold. Yeah. And that's when she does actually kill him. And then the wordstone and the iron fall to the ground. And that is when she's like, we got to get the fuck out of here and get to Skulls Bay. So
we wouldn't go there.
We would never go there. Rowan and Dorian end up in Skulls Bay first. They're there for about 2 weeks. before things are kind of happening. They first meet Rolf in the Ocean Rose, though, and then they're led to Rolf by a barmaid who has sea dragon tattoos. The sea dragons are still coming back. Remember, Rolf's actual ship is named the Sea Dragon.
Yeah.
So they find out that there's a decree by Duke Parrington, which basically names himself king, and that Holland, Dorian's younger brother, who's just like a little shithead, has been named heir. And Dorian's like, none of this is good news. We learned that the eastern islands in the archipelago are controlled by Erewhon. We saw a little bit of that with when Aelin and Rowan had attacked General Narok in that general vicinity. And so they also have sea dragons. Or they have sea wyvern, and the sea dragons are what the Mycenaeans are looking for. I said sea serpent earlier, but they're sea dragons, and then they have sea wyverns.
Is I totally knew what you were talking about. Mm-hmm. I didn't even catch it.
Yeah, I just noticed and I misspoke. But the sea wyverns are a problem, and then they're kind of talking to Rolf, and Rolf's like not really having it, and then Rolf stamps his foot, and that's when Gavriel and Fenris walk in. And they tell them the news that Maeve's armada is sailing for Eelway. They have orders to kill Lorcan on sight. And then we get a little hint of what's going on with Vaughn, because they were sent to the south and Vaughn went to the north. Vaughn just disappears out of this story. So many times. Vaughn is one of the cadre, and he's mentioned twice, and then nothing happens with him.
Yeah.
So
she's too many characters she's trying to keep track of. Especially that fucking dog that she didn't need. Fleetwood.
And that's they are meeting with Fenris and Gavriel, and so they're telling him all this news, and then that's when Rowan's like, oh, by the way, Gavriel, you have a son. And it's like, oh, okay, let's just drop this bomb too. So Rowan and Dorian are there again for 2 weeks. They're kind of Rolf's ignoring him. They're like, he's like, I have no interest in being a part of your guys' stuff. I just barely got Skull's Bay back and the Dead Islands. So like, I'm not interested in expanding my empire or fighting other people's wars right now. I'm just trying to keep them in the East away from me. And they are still dealing with the aftermath of when Selena and Sam just fucked up Skull's Bay as well. So everything's still kind of got problems with it. Rowan and Dorian, both in their POVs, can see the destruction that they left is still being rebuilt. And then after 2 weeks, they stage some fake news that like something horrible has happened. And it was Rowan sent the news to Dorian on the same island, and nobody noticed that that's what happened. And he's like, oh my God, we need to meet with them. And so then they go into this meeting. Rolf opens the door, and sitting there at the desk is Selena Sardathian. And this is one of my favorite scenes out of all of these books, is just Aelin fucking with Rolf. And it made me, because I loved that the Assassin and the Pirate Lord in Assassin's Blade is one of my favorite novellas in there. So just seeing her interacting with Rolf again is so funny. She spends a lot of that time flirting with Rowan. She's like plucking emeralds out of a bowl and then like plopping them back in as she's talking about how, oh, the person that Rowan's with has just got to be the most beautiful and talented thing in the world. And Rowan's just like smiling wide at her like, yes, she is.
Oh my God.
And then Rolf's like, I need you to shut up. And he's like, and put that emerald back, the one you put up your sleeve. And she's like, fine. And she drops it in, and he's like, and the other one. And she like spits it out. And it's like, it's cool to see her back in her prime Selena. And then he turns to Rowan, and he's like, you want me to help with your war? Kill her. That will make me help you. And Rowan's like, nah, sorry. I'm like blood sworn to her.
She's playing footsies with me. Her toes are playing with other parts of my body.
And then that's when Aelin goes, I want to introduce the one, the only Aelin Ashriver Galathinius. And Lysandra walks in dressed as her, and Rolf's like, no, Selena started out, Aelin didn't have a twin. And she's like, you're no fun, Rolf, of course I didn't have a twin. And then Lysandra shifts back, and Fenris is like, what the fuck, there's a shifter here. And Rolf's looking at her like, no, it can't be, no. I hate this. They have this meeting. Rolf is still like, fuck you guys, this is not happening. And he's like, talks about, there's basically a negative connotation about like that she's dreaming and stuff, like none of this is going to happen. And this is where we get the quote, the world will be saved and remade by the dreamers. Eventually Adian will meet Gavriel as well. And it doesn't go well. Adian's pissed because she didn't want to reveal his Fae heritage and wouldn't let one of the healers come in and heal her while she was giving birth, and she ended up dying in childbirth. So he never actually met his father because of that. Then we're kind of leading up while they're in this meeting. Aelin sends a pulse of magic out. And it's basically, she's hitting the point where she's like, okay, well, then I'm just going to bring them to me. Because, and that pulse of magic she sends out draws the Volg Armada in. And this is where we get the battle at Skull's Bay. Aelin tells Rolf to give her ships and the fire lances he's ordered, because there's in the Southern Kingdom they've created these fire lances, and she knows he bought a bunch because while she was being Selena, she was looking through all his stuff on his desk, and she has an invoice for fire lances, and then she wants the Mycenaean fleet as well, which are a maritime people that had sea dragons that they worshipped and everything like that, and the sea dragons disappeared, and they always the lore is that when the sea dragons came back, then the Mycenaean people would come back. And he's like, well, all those people are gone, and she's like, I don't think it is, that's just not the case. And they prep for the battle. Lysandra spent all of that time in the temple.
Yes, I love this.
Learning how to be a sea dragon, and she appears as a sea dragon before everybody, and that really brings up the hope for Rolf's people. I'm pretty sure Rolf knows it's Lysandra, but his people don't.
Her, shapeshift.
Yeah, but his people don't, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's happening. We're gonna it's gonna be okay. We're gonna come back." And so then again, Aelin had sent that burst of power onto the world, and then she eyed the map while that had happened. So this is before the battle. I've just put this in a weird spot. She was looking at the map on his desk because he was talking about how all of the Armada was coming in and they could see it. She was looking at it and she sees Briarcliff on there, and she sees the Red Desert, and she sees life debts that are owed to her. So she's cataloging that.
I didn't catch that.
Mm-hmm. So
I mean, I know what happens later on, but I didn't catch that in the moment.
Yeah, and she's thinking, okay, this is starting to be time. I need to start calling in these debts. Aelin spends a ton of time tunneling into her power, 3 days worth of time tunneling into her power. And the idea is that they're going to roll up to the Armada and she's just going to blast them. That's the goal. She told Rowan that there's an ashy pit at the end of her power, and she ends up deciding to go into it. And when she goes into it, she actually finds out it's Mala's power that she dives into. And when she does that while she's holding on to the word key, and she accidentally uses the word key in this moment, that's when she opens a temporary gate and Deanna comes in. So the god Deanna takes over her body and turns Aelin to face the city of Skull's Bay, and she's about to just roast the entire city. And Rowan jumps in front of her and tells her no. And that's the only thing that stops her. And this is the moment that Rowan realizes that she's his mate. Because only a mate, a mating bond, will stop that type of thing. If she's ever in a situation like that, he doesn't say it because it's still is there a second mate? How is that possible? Because he still believes that Lyria was his mate.
This just fucking irritated me so bad.
But that is the moment where Rowan's like, oh shit. This is my mate.
Plus, didn't you have to have that thought if there's not a second mate, then what the hell? You know what I mean? There's a whole mentally you got to be fucked right now. You're like, what is happening?
And they've both been kind of well, we know we're carrying on, but there's something else.
I know,
they're constantly having these mating bond conversations like we see with Feyre and Rhysand as well. So there's something else that's going on.
Yeah, but freaking Rhysand and Feyre got to mentally talk. Those two don't mentally talk.
Yeah, they do. Aelin and Rowan will look at each other and they'll have full conversations. They're in, if you're not reading it, they're not in quotations. They're just italics because they're speaking mind to mind.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. That's the whole time they were at the dinner table with...
I'm jealous that I didn't read this story, but this one I don't think I could have read. I don't think I would ever finish this if I would have...
No, when they're sitting at the table with Arabin in Queen of Shadows and they're flirting with each other and she's like, I'm not wearing underwear, that kind of thing. That was all in italics in their minds.
See, in the Audible, they should have been and then they were talking in their head.
Yeah. So the fight goes on. Lysandra is fighting as that sea dragon. She's a massive part of taking out the Armada. Aelin basically used up her power flinging towards the sky because Rowan jumped in front of her, or actually not towards the sky. She hit the boat below them. So then they ended up having to swim to shore, and they were standing on like a coral bank. And then Adian is manning the harpoons. Dorian's using his magic from those same towers. And Rolf's men are attacking, and obviously they have Fenris and Gavriel helping as well. At the end of that battle, as they're retreating, Lysandra is super injured. She ends up on the beach in her sea dragon form. She's bleeding everywhere. And that's when Adian goes to try to pull her out of her beast mode, because if she's still in that mindset of being an animal, she's not going to allow anyone to touch her.
Yeah.
So he ends up kind of drawing her back. And that's when he says, I will marry you one day. No one else gets to have you. I will marry you.
Which I fucking was like, Katie. She was like, no.
No, because I hate Adian.
I know, but I liked it. I was like,
I liked it. I guess my problem is that I love Lysandra so much, and I think she could have such a better man for her.
I don't think that Adian would be bad if he had like a good fucking woman to be like, here you go.
Yeah.
Like, let me show you.
The good thing is that Lysandra does constantly put him back in his place.
I'm saying though, a good woman can make any man better.
My problem is not. Maybe it's because I'm holding Kingdom of Ash Adian, which is really bad.
It's okay. It gets better.
To this. So, anyways, Rowan and Aelin, this is finally when they have sex on the beach. So, Aelin is dealing with the fact that she lost control there. And she's like, I don't understand what happened or why. And she could have hurt so many people. So she's trying to manage all of those emotions. And she walks into the sea.
This is when you need to be ravished.
Well, so this is when we get our love declarations, and she says, this is the first time that she says, I love you. And she said, I know there's a limit to what you can give me, and you might need some time to love me. And this is his iconic quote, I love you. There is no limit to what I can give you, no time I need. Even when this world is a forgotten whisper of dust between the stars, I will love you. So we get love declarations, we get claiming marks.
Yeah, the claiming marks. Arr, 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 arr. I was literally like, yes, let me bite you. Like canine.
It's a Fae thing. And this is honestly for Rowan and for Aelin especially, this is kind of her last true moment of peace until after the end of Kingdom of Ash.
Well, you know. Like,
it really, like, even the second they get back from this whole thing, and Lysandra asked if she had a nice ride, it's just all downhill from here. It really is.
The ride part, I just got that. I was like, no, she didn't.
She did. She walks in and she said, enjoy your ride. And this is when she tells Dorian, she said, hey, bud, you ready to confront your ancestor about what's going on? Because they're like, we need to ask her about the lock, because we're like, what's going on? And then, so they ask her where the lock is. She says it's in the Stone Marshes, which is basically what Brandon told her. And they're like, first she goes, she's like, you're too far away. I can't hear you. The connection's so bad. And she's like, it's like when people were trying to pretend that their phone's disconnecting.
Yes.
And then Aelin's like, hey, you dumb bitch. Knock it off.
I know, it was pretty good.
And
I'm going through a tunnel.
It's basically what she's like, it's just so far from Rifthold. And she's like, yeah, whose fucking fault is that, Elena? And so they find out that Mala Firebringer was Elena's mom, which is like a huge thing, because it had to be one of Mala's line that seals this lock, which means that it has to be either Dorian or Aelin who gives their life at the end of Kingdom of Ash. And that's going to be a back and forth the two of them will have. But Aelin finds out about this lock and she's like, okay, I'm going to have to lose my life to this.
Because she's just, I want to be like, you're a badass, but at the same time, I'm like, shut the fuck up! Like,
I know. And
it just irritates me.
I know.
I want to shake her.
I know, because she self-sacrifices the entire series.
I know.
That's what she does.
At the same time, you're like, you're such a badass!
Well, and we get
very mixed feelings towards this person.
There's a bunch of times during this book, especially where Adian and Rowan are both like, could you tell us a single plan before you do it? And she's trying to just protect everybody all her life, but
it's like kind of noble in a weird, fucked up way.
Yeah.
I am definitely not that person.
Mm-hmm.
I am definitely like, here's all my plans.
So this is when they're like, okay, we're back on a ship again. And they're going to the Stone Marshes.
At least they're not walking again.
No. And that's when a wyvern comes into view and Manon Blackbeak is dropped down by Abraxas because she said find somewhere safe, and he looked for Dorian. So
with his big heart.
With his big heart.
And her chicken heart.
That's the end of part 1. In part 2, we are in Fireheart. So we get, again, Alid and Lorcan is starting off our part. And they start to realize that both of them are hot. They're like, oh, I like you. You're kind of hot. That's the moment that I said that they're in the carnival. And he's like, oh, she's filled out and looks like a woman. And she's like, oh, he's got rippling muscles. That's like the first moment. Lorcan finds out that Alid's a virgin after she gets a little jealous over the fact that he says that he could have had 2 women and 1 man in his bed tonight. And she's like, and he's like, you don't understand. So many people are looking at you. And she's like, no, that's not. Like, no, that's not happening. 4 Ilkin land, and Lorcan confronts them. And then they say they're looking for Alid Lockin, who is the niece of Lord Lockin. And he's like, wait a second. So this is when he finds out Alid's true identity. Alid had hidden in like a compartment in a wagon. I think I don't know if I sent you the fan art or if I posted it on my Instagram story where Alid's like crawling out and it said Lorcan's chewing on a stalk of wheat. His hatchet's on the side and he's just like man spreading there waiting for her to come out.
Send that to me.
I need to show it to you.
I picture him man spreading.
Yeah. And that's
with
when
his
he's
8-inch cock.
His 8-inch cock.
It's probably like 12 with the
with
the
7 feet tall demi male. God, poor Alid.
Fucking like
that Lorcan speaks of his magic. So this is they both are like, okay, we've both been keeping secrets from each other. It's probably time to share a little bit. And Alid ends up explaining.
Sorry, my brain's still in the Kenner. Let me share a little bit.
This is how big my dick is, Alid.
It's like totally like it's 8 inches limp. It's 15 when it's hard.
Oh God!
I don't know why my brain went like totally to the dark side on this. Let me share a minute. My brain was like, no, Katie. I don't know why my brain just went straight to the gutter.
So
Mom, don't watch this episode.
Alid, well, don't watch our Dark Forces episode. But Alid is like, okay, fine, I'm Alid Lockin, blah, 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 blah. He's like, I'm Lorcan, I'm bloodsworn to Maeve. My power is death, like literal death, and it comes from Hellas, which I've mentioned before. Aneth and Hellas were lovers, so it's kind of cool to see a Lord and Leakin.
I like how you're like, the names together, Leakin. It's gonna be a new shirt, Leakin.
Alid's, he's like, I could give you a map and you could figure out where you're going. And she's like, except I'm illiterate, so that's not gonna help me. And he's like, how the fuck are you illiterate? And so then he's like, oh man, he's like, I can't leave her behind because there's so many people that have just like abandoned her. They end up commandeering a boat. Lorcan senses the word key in Alid's pocket. And that's when he's like, what the fuck? And he goes out on the deck of the boat after the driver that they had commandeered the boat from swam off to shore. He throws the amulet of Orinth, fake amulet of Orinth, across the river. And she sees it like make a dent in the tree. He threw it so hard. And there is a note inside that says, here's hoping you discover more creative terms than bitch to call me when you find this. With all my love, AAG.
I have no idea how much Katie's been waiting to tell you that.
I love it.
She is like, that's the scene right there.
Lorcan flips and he tells Alid that Selena and Aelin are the same person. Because before he had said, oh, Selena's in her employ. You'll find her at the same place. You'll find Aelin. And then she's pissed because she's like, you've known the entire time. Because she'd already confessed that Aelin was an important person to her.
Yes.
She's like, you've been keeping this the whole time. They get an argument. He storms out, blah, blah, blah. So.
Well, this is that, enemies to lovers.
Mm-hmm. And then Manon is a prisoner on the boat. They're like, lock that bitch up real quick because a witch shows up.
Super hurt, like she's not going anywhere.
Yeah, they healed her. I think Dorian. I don't know if it's in this part or it was after the Battle of Skulls Bay where Dorian's like he helped with minor healing, but he's like major things I'm not touching. I'm letting Aelin and Rowan do and Gabrielle and Fenris because he's like I'm not ready to fuck everything up yet. So she's a prisoner. Dorian and Aelin frequently show up to ask her questions about like the 13, what the witches are doing, what Erewhon's plan is for the witches, all that kind of stuff. Dorian asks if that they felt a burst of power, and he asks if it was Manon, and Manon's like, no, the witches don't have magic until they do the yielding. And so she explains the yielding, and the yielding is going to be a massive part of Kingdom of Ash when we get the witch towers that are going to be used that Manon's grandmother helped create, and we started learning about in Queen of Shadows as well. Then we get a lot of this section is really just a lot of kind of repetitive stuff where like they keep going and talking to her, and Dorian keeps going in and flirting with her, edging her, and then leaves, and then like eventually they do have sex. We get his phantom hands, like all that kind of stuff.
Part that I'm just like, God damn it.
And then Manon, they're all meeting with Manon. She started getting some freedom to walk around the ship, and they're like, Abraxos can do whatever he wants, but you're not going to do whatever you want. She finally gets some freedom after Dorian tells Aelin that it's not fair to keep her locked up in a cage, basically. Fenris attacks her. I say Fenris in quotations because it's actually the Bloodhound in the shape of Fenris. It's really, Erewhon is looking for her, and they drop Astrin's braided leather band in front of her. And so she thinks that Astrin and the 13 are dead at this point. Then the Ilkin attack the ship, and they reveal that Aelin, they know Aelin has the word key. I just wanted to put a side note because it is mentioned throughout while they're fighting the Ilkin and that kind of stuff, and it does get used. Fenris can winnow. Well, they don't say it's winnowing, but that's the Akatar term for it. But he can transport.
I knew exactly.
And he can transport other people.
I was like, that's not in this book, I swear.
Yeah, it is. Fenris, that's his like special thing he can do.
I'm saying like she doesn't use that term in this book.
Yeah. After that happens, Aelin gets pulled into she has a couple times where she gets pulled into the thrall of her magic because it's so overwhelming. We do learn that Aelin doesn't have a bottom to her power. In Kingdom of Ash, she will keep tunneling down and there's no end. And Rowan actually rouses her and pulls her out of that place that she had spiraled to. And this is kind of a theme that we see with Rowan, especially from Heir of Fire on. I mean, that's when we meet Rowan, but like their relationship is walking out of the darkness together in Heir of Fire. And then in Kingdom of Ash, he ends up coming to her and helping her out, or not Kingdom of Ash, and Queen of Shadows. And then with this, he will help pull her out of places where she seems to get lost. In Kingdom of Ash, he'll help her come out of the dark place after her capture with Maeve. And then he also will give her the map back to him when she falls through the worlds in Kingdom of Ash. So he always is he's home for her. And so he's constantly pulling her back to him.
She's also trying to like actively like be like, I'm supposed to die for this world and stop pulling me back. I don't know.
But Aelin's stopping.
A weird fucking thing. Yeah, because it's her fucking mate. Like,
so a bunch of stuff happens. They end up in the Stone Marshes. The Stone Marshes are the Elite and Lorcan end up there. They tromp through it. They end up making out right when the Ilkin start attacking. That is how they're going to end up meeting up with Aelin and stuff. They end up collecting the lock, which is the witch mirror.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what is this? And that's when Manon's able to help with that. They meet up with Lorcan and Elide, and when the Ilkin had been attacking, Lorcan sent out a pulse of magic to signal Maeve where they were because he was scared that Elide was going to die. So he did it to protect Elide, even though it was not a good decision.
Yeah, well, he doesn't know any different.
No, but when they first meet up in the Stone Marshes, they have Gavril and Fenris there who have orders to kill Lorcan on sight. So then Aelin makes a decree that they're not allowed to fight or it's considered an act of war, which like pauses the blood oath and it kind of works around everything. They're like, okay, well, we're going to go face off with Maeve's armada during that time. So the night before, Rowan ends up going to his cousins and he convinces them to, they all say, I will consider it. But he goes and convinces them to support them when everything turns because they're like, we don't have a massive army here. Yeah. They just basically have what they brought from Skulls Bay with them. And then during the time that they're setting up to fight and they start fighting, Manon and Aelin are off and Elide and Lorcan are off doing their thing too, but they have the witch glass and they go into the witch glass, and that's when they see Elena betray the gods and how it gets passed on to Aelin that she's going to have to be the one to seal everything.
Yes.
And we also get to see Elena when she gets in contact with Nehemia. And Nehemia had originally been like, well, what can I do? How can I sacrifice myself to this? Because I'm trying to protect my people. And she said, unfortunately, it has to be someone in Mala's bloodline, but you still lose your life to this. So
I know. It's just like a shitty thing to like, yay.
Yeah. So we get to see all of that. And this was the part where I was listening to it and I was like, Star, what is going on? When did this happen? When did they talk to the gods? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. This is Elena that they're watching.
Yes, but
do all
it's
this
very
stuff.
Like, and you're listening to it, there's a lot going on. You're like, what just happened?
We also,
at least when you're reading it, you can kind of see it like.
And there are some interactions that Elena has with one of the Kraken queens as well during this time. So Manon is brought into this as well. There is, at this point, Aelin has decided, okay, Maeve is going to take me and I have to sacrifice myself to all of this. And there's nothing I can do. So she's made plans at this point on what is going to happen. When Maeve, the whole fight's going on, and Rowan's like, where are Aelin and Manon? What's going on? Dorian's on the boat with them. And then that's when he finds out that they're on the coast. So Rowan flies as fast as he can to get there. Elide is watching. Lorcan's watching. Lorcan's obviously still blood oath to Maeve. So Maeve says, you're going to like hold her back. And so he's holding on to her, and he's like, run, just try to get out of my hold because I can't do anything. Gavriel and Fenris are also still blood sworn at this point. Maeve and Aelin fight, and Aelin gets taken down. And
she's a fucking Vogue.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't. I still didn't get that, like, ever. Like, I was still like,
not at this point. And no. Maeve kidnaps her and strips her of her shirt. They whip her, and they end up putting her in that iron coffin. But before that all happens, she turns to Elide. So Manon is just standing there, acting like nothing's going on. Manon, Elide doesn't know this. A lot of this is in Elide's POV because she's just watching this happen. She's seeing the person that she's falling in love with is holding her back and following this horrible person's orders. She's seeing Aelin, who she just got to be back with again, is getting kidnapped. Right. She's seeing Manon, who she's looked up to and felt like was a sister to her, is not doing anything.
Because she doesn't know any of the backstory.
She doesn't know anything that's going on.
Suck so bad.
Yeah, and she's just watching all of this horrible stuff go down, and she's just like, please, somebody stop. Like, stop. And that's when Aelin does her whole monologue, and I wrote it down because it's like a huge thing. But she says, tell the others that I'm sorry. Tell Lysandra to remember her promise and that I will never stop being grateful. So this promise that she made was that Lysandra was going to wear Aelin's skin. She and Rowan had gotten married overnight, or a couple nights before this battle.
Yes.
And she was going to pretend to be married to Rowan, and then she would sire children with Aedion so that they had Ash River blood, so then they would look like her children.
Yes, but nobody knows this, except for Lysandra and her.
Yeah,
are the only two that know her sick fucking plan. So because the boys are like, are you shitting me?
And that's
delusional beast.
That's the plan that they made together. And then after that, she says, tell Aedion it is not his fault and that I wished he'd been able to take the oath, but Terrasen will look to him now and the lines must not break. We'll see that in Kingdom of Ash when the lines do break.
Yes.
And he will find out the plan for him late at the end of this book, actually. And then she says, and tell Rowan that I'm sorry I lied, but tell him it was all borrowed time, but I still wish we'd had more of it. Tell him he has to fight. He must save Terrasen and remember the vows he made to me, and tell him thank you for walking that dark path with me back to the light. Which I was listening to that and I was tearing up, and Star was laughing at me.
Because Katie cries over stuff that I'm just like, alrighty.
But it just breaks my heart that Aelin is so resigned to horrible things happening to her. Maeve had already told her at this point, while she's being whipped by Cairn, Rowan is her true mate, and that they would have had thousands of years together because she would have gone through the settling, which is when they Demi-Fae will settle into having an immortal life, or they will just continue being mortals, basically. But she says, you would have settled, you would have had thousands of years together, and I'm taking that away from you now. And that
she's a sick bitch.
She planted Lyria, the mating bond with Lyria, into Rowan's mind because she's Volg, and also weird Akatar ties, right? Like, why can all that go on? And then she has Cairn whip her. So Cairn, with Rowan being gone, is the replacement for Rowan in the blood oath. And all of the people in the cadre were like, Cairn is a fucked up dude. He is constantly...
He almost, like, enjoys it. Like, when he splits your skin, it's like, yeah.
He loves torture and violence and being a horrible person.
Some people just really do get off on that.
And he does. So that's our first interaction with Cairn, is she gets whipped and she said, you're going to start counting. She does that to humiliate her.
But, like, could you imagine, like, after, like, 10 hits, you're like, I can't remember where I'm at. Like,
well, she said they're not going to stop until, they're going to do however many lashings. We won't stop until you finish counting them. And Aelin never counts. She just sits there and takes it and takes it and takes it.
Yeah.
She also...
she's also, I'm planning on dying. And you can die after, like, what, 40-something hits?
I don't know. When you're a Fae, I don't know how it works.
I actually didn't even think about that.
But she does, before that even happens, she bows to Maeve. And Maeve's like, I was told you would bow for no one. And so she gets put in the iron coffin with the iron manacles and things that cover her hands and the iron mask and everything to suppress her power. And she gets taken on the boat with Maeve. And then Rowan lands after that. And Rowan lands and he says, "Where is Aelin? Where is my wife?" And that's the reveal that they got married. Side note, where's my fucking on-page wedding?
I forgot about that. And honestly, I thought we finally got one like 8 podcasts ago.
We did, but I want it here. I want my on-page wedding. I want to know the vows that he promised her.
Maybe she'll rewrite it for you. Maybe she'll like throw a novella out there where it's their love story.
I don't know. This
their wedding gets like actually like they get to do like a real wedding.
I think they deserve it because like,
and, like
come on. After everything Aelin went through and Rowan went through, and so he knows you get Rowan's POV. He's like, I've known she was my mate. I knew it, and I just wasn't accepting it.
I don't know why I just got the chills all of a sudden. I'm like, I don't know. It's like weird because then I started picturing their wedding. God damn it!
I'd love their wedding.
I might actually cry because I started picturing their wedding.
I just want them to be happy, and once we get Kingdom of Ash is going to be really hard too. And they both have so many horrible things that happen to them. You just want something good. And so to not get to see their wedding, it's just like, come on, it was a one bright spot we could have had. We got to have them have sex on the beach one time, and that's it. And then she's kidnapped, and Rowan sends a pulse down the bond that says, "I'm coming for you. Like, stay strong. I'll be there." He immediately is going to set out. Him, Lorcan, Alid, and Gavriel are going to go. And the big things that happen with Maeve before she leaves, she breaks the oath, the blood oath with Gavriel, because Gavriel had sought it out for. He was blood sworn when he sired Aedion, but he had sought it out for the glory and the respect, basically, that came with the blood oath. And then she also severed it with Lorcan, and Lorcan had told Alid that he loved Maeve. So he had loved Maeve in like kind of a weird Lorcan-y way, right? And so she knew that, and she broke the blood oath with him as well, which just completely destroys him too. I mean,
I don't know. That one was weird because I'm not sure. Like, part of me wonders if she planted that in him.
Yeah,
because she's got like that weird fucking like power, like, and he was like a begging dog. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the thing is though that Lorcan had, I think Lorcan had expressed interest in being in her bed, but she had sought out Connell, who is Fenris's twin, because she wanted Fenris. She wanted Fenris initially, and Fenris was like, I don't want to do that. I'm not taking the blood oath. So she sought out Connell. Connell took the blood oath and was willing to be in her bed and was very excited about it. Yes. So then Fenris is like, I'm not leaving my twin to do this by himself. So Fenris did it, and then she forced him into her bed at that point.
I know.
Lorcan, she kind of like was like, Lorcan, great, you're my number 2 over there. Go away.
Yeah, but I feel like he was like, I want to be in your bed. Like,
he did. He totally did.
So that's why he was like, but not like, but I also not sure, like, how much of that, like, what kind of scent and shit did she, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, how much did she influence it?
Sick shit was she doing? Because I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
She was sick. That's all. I don't know.
But the main thing, so she broke the blood oath with Gavriel and Lorcan because it was painful for them, because that they took it with they had it with no, oh gosh, what's it called? No honor. They're discharged with no, it's like dishonorable discharge, right? From the military. That's what happens with them. And so it's massive for them to lose that blood oath, but she leaves Fenris with it because she knows Fenris never wanted it. So it's more painful for him to have to suffer and watch some Aelin, who's actually become a really good friend of his, suffer now.
Yeah, no.
And so that's like her big punishments to them. Alid watches Lorcan crawl on the beach toward Maeve, and she assumes it's because he's still in love with Maeve. In Kingdom of Ash, we'll find out if he was actually crawling toward Aelin. But she doesn't see that.
POV, you're only seeing what you see. It doesn't mean you understand.
And
this is why, like, perception's a big deal.
And some of Aedion's low point in this book is when he turns to Aelin and he says, "Where are our allies, Aelin? Where are they?" And right before they're in a big battle, and of course they're like about to lose this battle. Rowan's family did help kind of stave them off, but they were not going to win this battle without allies. And now that Aelin's gone and all the plans have been revealed, Aedion's pissed because he's like, I'm just supposed to sire children with Lysandra. Like, that's been decided for me. And then
you will eventually want to.
And then cresting over the hill is actually Ansela Briarcliff was there first. She had been there. She got there earlier before they had battled because Aelin and her did reconnect and stuff. And we learned that she had learned.
This is why I like Assassin's Blade, because you get to get all these people. You just don't know where they're going to fucking land.
This is the payoff book for Assassin's Blade for sure. So Ansela Briarcliff had showed up, and her armada helped fight Maeve during this time. But she and Aelin had reconnected, and she's like, I heard someone was going by my name in Rifthold. And then Selena
had red hair and everything. She did the whole fucking nine.
And then Aelin sent out a message to her to let her know that she owed her a life debt and all this kind of stuff. So they had come in, and then they also will get the assassins of the silent assassins from the Red Desert come in. And
you see, don't you appreciate that book better now?
I love that book.
Nobody likes that book.
You get the payoff in this book. That's where I really see it. Is you see all of the little breadcrumbs that she left in Assassin's Blade came here.
I love Assassin's Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
One point I want to make real quick, and this is just passing back to when they were in Skulls Bay, is that Rolf makes a comment about Sam. And one thing I love about Rowan is he never negates her love or is upset by the fact that she still does love Sam or anything like that. But Rowan comes across the table and like almost comes to blows with Rolf over it, because he's like, absolutely not. You're not going to disrespect Sam. That is too important of a person for her. So I just love that as a side note for Assassin's Blade people to keep coming in. Sam is always a motivator, and at some point in this book, it's when she's facing this overseer of Endovier, she's in her head saying, I will not be afraid. So this is really our payoff book. We get Sam payoff, we get Silent Assassins payoff. We got our Arabin payoff in Queen of Shadows. We got Lysandra coming back in Queen of Shadows. So like all of this is really tying in together now. And we'll get our last little tidbit with Irene when we get into Tower of Dawn that will kind of put everything up in a bow for Assassin's Blade and send us into Kingdom of Ash for our final battle.
Yep.
So the end of this book is really hard. It makes me really sad every time I read it or I listen to it or anything like that. Kingdom of Ash is a rough book. So I'm actually kind of glad we had a little Tower of Dawn break beforehand. And then we'll finish up a Throne of Glass. So what would you rate Empire of Storms?
On the reread?
Mm-hmm.
Probably still a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I still liked it. I just wasn't like, I don't know. It's a rough. I have read this whole series twice now.
Yeah.
And I'm still like, okay, I still like it. I just don't love it.
This is my 6-star read. I don't know if I rated Queen of Shadows 6 stars or not, but I don't know. Empire of Storms is my favorite book of this whole series.
Again, this is one of those books where like you felt something. There's just so much going on that like every time I was like, okay, where am I at? Okay, hold on. Like I would have to have like literally had Cliff Notes for this in order to.
I did have Cliff Notes for this.
The old school Cliff Notes where you had to pull out literally was called Cliff Notes and it was yellow and black. Like
I had Spark Notes online. Yeah, the Bumblebee yellow legs. So that has been our coverage of Empire of Storms. Like I said, we have 2 more books in Throne of Glass, and then we will head into ACOTAR after that. So if you are watching us on YouTube and you want to keep watching us, if you can subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify. If you're watching us on YouTube, I will throw up a slide to where you can follow us on social media, and we will see you in the next one.